Defining what is a woman using the five-stage model. The definition of woman evolves across the 5 stages, reflecting broader societal, psychological, and individual complexities. Scientific advances and social movements support the need for flexible, stage-appropriate understandings of gender and womanhood. The 5-stage model provides a robust framework for understanding these layers of relativity, demonstrating an evolution from static to dynamic, inclusive definitions. Stage 1. Biological and traditional understanding. Definition. A woman is defined primarily by biological markers, including chromosomes, XX, hormonal levels, and reproductive anatomy. Traditions and familial expectations often reinforce this biologically grounded definition, emphasizing roles like childbearing and caregiving. This stage reflects a static view rooted in historical norms, where women's identities are largely confined to their biological and reproductive roles. Biological examples. Medical context. In traditional medicine, a woman might be classified by her ability to menstruate, conceive, or bear children. This definition often excludes postmenopausal women or women with conditions like Turner syndrome, highlighting the rigidity of this stage. Sports and eligibility. Early debates in sports competitions, e.g., sex testing in the Olympics, focus solely on physical and genetic markers to determine eligibility for female categories. Legal documentation. Birth certificates and IDs often reflect this stage by assigning sex based on observable genitalia at birth, without consideration for later gender identity. Challenges to biological definition. Chromosomal variations. Turner syndrome, 45X. Individuals with this condition are chromosomally female, but often have underdeveloped secondary sexual characteristics and may be infertile. Klinefelter syndrome, 47XXY. People with this syndrome are biologically male but may have physical traits typically associated with females, like gynecomastia or reduced masculine features. Androgen insensitivity syndrome, AIS. Individuals with XY chromosomes develop typically female external anatomy due to insensitivity to male hormones. They may identify and live as women. Intersex individuals. Approximately 1.7% of people are born with intersex traits, ambiguous genitalia, chromosomal variations, highlighting the limitations of binary biological definitions. Impact. These examples reveal that a rigid biological definition fails to encompass the diversity of human experiences, supporting a more nuanced understanding aligned with later stages of the 5-stage model. Familial and traditional examples. Cultural norms. In many traditional societies, such as Confucian-based cultures, a woman is expected to embody virtues like obedience, filial piety, and nurturing roles within the family. Religious expectations. Many religions assign specific roles to women, such as being the homemaker or the virtuous wife, as seen in Christian or Islamic texts. Gender roles in media. Television shows like Mad Men depict women in the 1950s and 1960s primarily as homemakers, secretaries, or caregivers, reflecting the societal roles of that time. Challenges to traditional and religious definition enforcement of gender norms. In cultures adhering strictly to Stage 1 definitions, deviations from assigned gender roles are often met with severe punishments to enforce conformity. For instance, in certain societies, women who transgress prescribed behaviors may face honor-based violence, including honor killings, which are acts of murder committed to restore family honor perceived to be lost through a woman's actions. Such extreme measures underscore the rigid enforcement of traditional gender norms in these contexts. Stage 2. Functional and achievement-based understanding. Definition. Women are recognized for their skills, talents, and contributions beyond traditional roles, such as excelling in leadership, science, or military service. This stage highlights how societal progress reshapes gender norms, breaking stereotypes. In this phase, feminist theories, like Judith Butler's concept of performativity, argue that gender is constructed through repeated behaviors rather than being tied to biology. This perspective enables a more fluid understanding of womanhood based on achievements and capabilities. Examples: military and workforce participation. Women breaking into traditionally male-dominated spaces, like the first female fighter pilots or CEOs, Indra Nooyi of PepsiCo, demonstrate how societal functionality starts to influence gender definitions. Cultural heroes. Figures like Malala Yousafzai are celebrated for achievements in education advocacy, redefining what it means to contribute as a woman beyond traditional roles. Artistic representations. In art or literature, women are often portrayed as achievers in roles that embody either traditional caregiving, e.g., the nurturing mother in Renaissance paintings, or rebellious achievers, e.g., Joan of Arc in literature. Supportive evidence. Across history and cultures, societal roles and contributions by women challenge static definitions of what it means to be a woman. Roles are not uniform and change based on societal context. Dahomey Amazons, Benin. This all-female military regiment in the Kingdom of Dahomey, 18th and 19th centuries, defied traditional gender expectations by engaging in combat roles typically reserved for men. Rosie the Riveter, World War II USA. Women entered industrial and manufacturing jobs en masse during the war, reshaping societal views on women's capabilities. Warrior queens. Figures like Queen Boudica, Celtic Britain, and Rani Lakshmibai, India, led armies challenging societal constructs that associated warfare with masculinity. Modern examples: women in STEM, e.g. Katherine Johnson's role in NASA, politics, e.g. Angela Merkel, and sports, e.g. Serena Williams, highlight evolving functional contributions. Supportive evidence of women as antisocial constructs. Feminist literature such as Judith Butler's Gender Trouble, 1990, argues that gender is performative, created and reinforced through repeated social behaviors rather than being inherently tied to biological sex. Examples: gender as performative. Butler posits that societal norms create expectations for how women should behave, dress, and speak. For instance, femininity is not innate but culturally learned and performed. Challenging stereotypes. Literature critiques constructs like the ideal woman in media or traditional roles, such as passive caregivers or homemakers, showing they are socially constructed rather than biologically ordained. Intersectionality. Scholars like Kimberlé Crenshaw highlight how factors like race, class, and sexuality intersect with gender, showing the complex and non-uniform experience of womanhood. Stage 3. Role and duty, assigned by society and culture. Definition. A woman's identity is shaped by societal and cultural expectations, often centered around caregiving, motherhood, and partnership roles. Women experience the tension of balancing professional aspirations with traditional responsibilities, navigating societal pressures to conform. For instance, Japanese culture exemplifies this dynamic as women strive to balance modern careers with traditional duties. This stage captures the struggle between societal demands and personal autonomy, reflecting the cultural negotiation of women's identities. Examples: traditional roles. In Japan, women frequently occupy positions such as housewives or waitresses, where they are expected to exhibit traditional feminine behaviors, reinforcing societal norms. Cosplay culture. The practice of cosplay, where individuals dress as characters from manga, anime, or video games, allows women to explore diverse identities. However, this expression often aligns with societal expectations of femininity and entertainment, reflecting a blend of personal expression and cultural norms. This stage highlights the tension women face as they balance personal autonomy with societal expectations, often conforming to prescribed roles despite increased independence. The Japanese context exemplifies this, where women navigate between traditional duties and modern expressions, illustrating the complex interplay between individual identity and cultural norms. Stage 4. Autonomy and responsible choices. Definition. A woman is defined by her ability to make independent and responsible choices regarding her body, identity, and life, provided these choices do not harm others. At this stage, she seeks equitable partnerships, sharing domestic and professional responsibilities with her spouse. This perspective aligns with modern legal and ethical frameworks that validate self-identification and emphasize individual autonomy. It signifies a shift toward respecting personal agency over traditional or biological constructs. Examples: reproductive rights. The pro-choice movement exemplifies this stage, where a woman asserts her autonomy over decisions like childbirth and abortion, regardless of societal pressures or roles. Gender identity. Laws supporting transgender rights, such as the Gender Recognition Act in the UK, validate a woman's identity based on personal choice and responsibility. Cultural shifts in media. Movies like Erin Brockovich and Legally Blonde portray women taking charge of their lives, careers, and identities, showing autonomy while respecting others' boundaries. Supportive evidence in legal and ethical shifts. Modern legal and ethical frameworks increasingly recognize individuals' autonomy to self-identify their gender, reflecting a shift toward respecting personal choice and responsibility. Examples: gender recognition laws. Argentina, 2012, became one of the first countries to allow individuals to self-identify their gender without medical approval, demonstrating Stage 4 autonomy. California Gender Recognition Act, 2017, allows non-binary gender markers on legal documents, challenging binary definitions. Policies in sports. Organizations like the International Olympic Committee now include guidelines for transgender athletes, balancing biology with identity and autonomy. Marriage equality. Legal recognition of same-sex marriage acknowledges diverse family structures and gender roles, decoupling these from traditional constructs. Impact. Such legal shifts validate the relativity of gender definitions by placing individual choice and identity above traditional or biological frameworks. This perspective aligns with Stage 4 and 5, where personal agency and self-definition play a central role, moving away from biologically deterministic or role-based views. Stage 5. Self-actualization and conscious identity. Definition. A woman achieves self-definition by integrating personal values, experiences, and societal understanding, creating an authentic and balanced gender identity. She harmonizes professional ambitions and family life, living contentedly with her choices. This stage embodies the culmination of womanhood as a self-actualized, fulfilled identity. It transcends societal expectations and celebrates individual balance and purpose, with women consciously shaping their lives according to their unique aspirations and priorities. Examples: transgender and non-binary inclusivity. Individuals like Laverne Cox, a transgender actress, redefine what it means to be a woman, emphasizing personal experiences over biology or societal roles. Artistic and literary representation. Authors like Virginia Woolf in Orlando explore fluid gender identities, reflecting a stage where identity transcends fixed categories. Cultural advocacy. Activists like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie emphasize intersectional feminism, arguing for a multidimensional understanding of womanhood that includes race, culture, and socioeconomic factors. Global shifts in gender ideology. Societies that recognize non-binary and third gender categories, e.g. hijiras in India, demonstrate how self-actualization reshapes definitions of gender and womanhood. Supportive evidence for interdisciplinary perspectives. Psychological and psychoanalytic theories provide deeper insights into how relational dynamics, early experiences, and emotional development shape identity, including gender identity. Examples: object relations theory, Melanie Klein, Donald Winnicott, emphasizes the role of primary relationships, e.g. with mothers or caregivers, in forming one's identity. A person's internalized sense of gender can stem from relational dynamics rather than biology. Example: an individual may adopt gender traits based on their perceived alignment with nurturing or assertive qualities shaped by early family dynamics. Self-actualization. Abraham Maslow. Gender identity can represent a form of self-actualization, where individuals transcend societal expectations to embrace their authentic selves. Stage 5. Trauma and identity. Unresolved childhood traumas, such as abandonment or gendered expectations, can influence gender identity and expression. This supports the argument for an evolving, relational understanding of womanhood. Impact. Interdisciplinary approaches affirm that identity is a dynamic, emotionally driven process, supporting the relativity of gender definitions within the model's framework. The 5-stage model illustrates that the definition of woman evolves from rigid biological determinism to a nuanced integration of personal experience, choice, and social context. This progression not only broadens the scope of the definition, but also reflects varying degrees of rigidity, openness to communication, empathetic understanding, and enforcement methods. Stage 1. Characterized by strict adherence to biological definitions, often enforced through rigid societal norms and punitive measures against nonconformity. Stage 2. Focuses on societal roles and achievements, with some flexibility but still influenced by traditional expectations. Stage 3 represents a transitional phase where women navigate between traditional roles and emerging feminist identities, with societal and cultural expectations influencing their choices. Stages 4 and 5 emphasize personal autonomy and self-actualization, fostering open communication and empathetic understanding with enforcement mechanisms that respect individual identities. This framework underscores the importance of evolving towards more inclusive and empathetic approaches to understanding womanhood, recognizing the diverse experiences and identities of individuals. Conclusion. Summary of relativity across stages from stage 1 to stage 5. The definition evolves from rigid biological determinism to a nuanced, empathetic integration of personal experience, choice, and social context. Validation of relativity. Scientific advances, such as discoveries about intersex individuals and social movements like feminism and LGBTQ+ rights, support the need for flexible, stage-appropriate understandings of gender and womanhood. The 5-stage model of civilization provides a nuanced framework for understanding the evolving concept of woman. From biological determinism to dynamic self-actualization, it underscores the interplay between societal progress, personal autonomy, and the complexity of human identity. The supportive evidence highlights the complexity and variability in defining what is a woman. They affirm that a rigid definition cannot encompass biological, functional, cultural, and psychological diversity. The 5-stage model provides a robust framework for understanding these layers of relativity, demonstrating an evolution from static to dynamic, inclusive definitions.